Hello there and welcome to the weekly Outside Views report on Northern Irish politics. Following a meeting on January 20th, the Agricultural Wages Board for Northern Ireland has announced proposed increases to the minimum wage rates for agricultural workers. The board also proposes to increase existing minimum rates for agricultural workers for all grades by 8.5% from April 1st. Therefore, the proposed new rates are the minimum rate applicable for the first 40 weeks of cumulative employment with £7.54 per hour. Grade 2, that's standard workers, with £8.13 per hour. Grade 3, that's lead workers, with £10.16 per hour. Grade 4, craft grade, with £10.92 per hour. And Grade 5, supervisory grade, with £11.49 per hour. Grade 6, farm management grade, with £12.48 per hour. Should the national minimum wage or the national living wage, as applicable, become higher than the hourly rate set out, then the hourly or other minimum rate will default to the national minimum wage or national living wage, whichever applies there. Further, the board proposed increasing the accommodation offset by 8.5% to £51.27 per week. Additionally, the board proposes 3 days bereavement leave following the death of a close family member. A 33-point action plan to improve governance across the Northern Ireland Civil Service has been published. The plan is in response to findings from an external independent review undertaken by PwC to examine the handling of concerns and other matters raised in a case taken by a former DARA employee. Commissioned by DARA on behalf of the department's Permanent Secretary Katerina Godfrey, the Department of Finance Permanent Secretary Neil Gibson, and the head of the Civil Service Jane Brady, the reports and action plan have been shared with staff, trade unions, MLAs, and the Northern Irish Audit Office. The external review highlights issues in the recording and escalation of concerns, the application of some policies, and the way in which employment-related legal cases are managed by the NICS. A new NICS Raising a Concern policy framework has also been published. These guidelines for departments set out for the first time a single overarching approach to dealing with concerns raised. A refreshed civil service code of ethics, which includes the obligation on all civil servants to keep proper records, will be embedded into performance management processes. Neither PwC's Lessons Learned and Recommendations report nor the action plan addresses the actions of individual civil servants. The Northern Irish Civil Service, as a responsible employer, does not comment on internal employment-related matters which may or may not arise. The permanent secretaries of DARA and DOE will monitor the status of actions and have already asked their respective department audit committees to scrutinize progress. Quarterly progress reports will be published on their respective websites. The review also identifies areas for improvement in the culture of the service. The Attitudes Towards E-Vehicles in Northern Ireland 21-22 report is now available. This report, produced by the Analysis, Statistics and Research branch, the ASRB of the Department for Infrastructure, presents findings from the 21-22 Continuous Household Survey. Over a third, with 37% of all respondents, would definitely or strongly consider buying an electric vehicle as their next purchase, up from a quarter in 2019-20. Of those, almost 8 in 10 respondents, with 79%, intend to purchase an electric vehicle within the next 5 years. Male respondents and those living in urban areas were more likely to consider purchasing an electric vehicle than females and those living in rural areas. The top 3 reasons that would encourage purchase an electric vehicle include low overall running costs with 55%, environmentally friendly with 53%, and the up to £3,000 grant towards purchase of an electric car and £8,000 towards an electric van purchase. The leading concern towards purchasing an electric vehicle is the purchase price itself, with 70% of respondents reporting this as a discouraging factor. Every one of us has a part to play in challenging prejudice and discrimination in our societies, and the Holocaust Memorial Day regional commemoration was heard like that. The annual event, hosted by the Executive Office in conjunction with the Holocaust Memorial Day Trust and Belfast City Council, saw around 400 people gather at Belfast City Hall on Tuesday, on January 24th, to remember the victims and survivors of the Holocaust and subsequent genocides in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia, and Darfur. The theme of 23, the ordinary people, highlights the ordinary people who let genocide happen, those who actively perpetrated genocide, those who rescued would-be victims, and the ordinary people who were persecuted. Keynote speaker at the event was Holocaust survivor Eve Kugler, who spoke movingly about her family and how her family was torn apart by the Nazis when they were forced to flee their home in Germany and her parents were sent to concentration camps. The Department of Agricultural Environment and Rural Affairs, the DARA, has confirmed the basic payment scheme entitlement registered for 2023. Those are now available to view online. DARA's Director of Area-Based Scheme Division, Dr. Jason Foy, said, "The application period for transferring BPS entitlements will open on March 1st. 2023 entitlement registered are now available for farmers and their agents to view online. I would encourage farm businesses to log on to their DARA online services accounts to check their entitlements in advance of the opening of the transfer period. Farmers can view the number of BPS entitlements they hold, their value, previous entitlement transfers, and other important information such as entitlements that have been confiscated from the business by logging into their DARA online services account. The application period for transferring BPS entitlements this year will open on March 1st, as I said, and close on May 2nd. Farmers or their agents who wish to transfer entitlements for the 23 scheme year must do so during this period. The Department for Infrastructure has opened a new construction materials testing laboratory at Cairn in Portadown. The purpose-built laboratory, which costs £2 million, will provide an enhanced facility to assess the quality of materials used in the construction and maintenance of the road network. DFI manages £26 billion of essential infrastructure assets across Northern Ireland, including the maintenance of 25,000 kilometers of roads, 9,700 footways and 5,800 bridges, and spends approximately £90 million annually on resurfacing, with a further £10 million on surface dressing. And this concludes this week's video on Northern Irish politics, and I'll definitely see you in my next video. I'll be back.